And welcome into the Rob and Kale Show. I'm Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us this evening as I'm battling new issues with the puppy here, Jackpot.
Oh
So
boy.
a little bit out of sorts, but we'll get there.
And how is
Thank
that
you.
opposed to the old issues?
You're wearing a Penn State hat, so I'll be nice to you. he just pulled my monitor and it almost hit the floor. So
Oh shit. Well,
so it's like it's a little. But anyway, we have a big show planned for you, including tonight. We did the ACC teams the other night. Tonight, we do the SEC teams with their over and under list here, Jackpot. Looking forward to this. Going to be a good show. Jackpot sent me some stuff that he wants to get into. First, I want to invite everybody to get into the Callaway's Pick'em Challenge. Callaway's Bar and Grill.com. They sponsor the podcast. You can get into the challenge by just going to the link that is in the bio here. You can go in and do that. I mean, it's very simple. I'm probably going to do the a how-to video on how to fill out your Google form, because it seems like every year I have 15 or 20 people that are like, how do I fill out this form? So I'm going to do a how-to edition, show people how to do it. But I mean, it's really simple. You'll fill out your form every week. 10 games and the Kale Hall shitter. We'll have all of that for you. Part of the
probably a
Callaway.
real good idea. And then every video I do promoting the contest, I will link that video down in the description box.
Yeah, so look for that in the coming days.
Yeah, I've been
here.
telling them. I've been telling people too that your email address is there in the bottom of the description box to send you any questions. If anybody sends you any questions,
If I get questions, I answer them. So I mean, to be honest, I really don't. I think I may have gotten one or two. So
anyone sent you any nudes?
No, you're the only one that gets the big male schlong nudes for this program. I don't get anything like that.
Oh well, I mean, I got it from one of your football players, so.
Of course you did. Anyway, thanks to Callaway's Bar and Grill, Callaway'sBarandGrill.com. Normally we have fireside chats with Uncle Jackpot, but I forgot to write one this evening, so we will make it up on the fly here. Jackpot, I am loading up. Let's take care of these two pictures here that you sent me first, really quick. Let me get these up and moving here. It'll give me just 1 second here.
Yeah, I want to comment on a little bit of stuff here.
Well, here's the big thing, though. Getting into the challenge is simple. All you need to do is go to the link. You send Jackpot. It's $20, right, Jackpot? And then you're good to go, right?
Absolutely.
And, of course, we do all kinds of it basically carries us through football season. So it's definitely it's
Fireball
really
over in the chat says if Rob and Kale was gay, who would be the pitcher and the catcher? Or who would be the pitcher and the cather? Look, this guy's so stupid he can't even type correctly. Neither one. You would be both.
Yeah. Why would you ask that question? Jesus, what is wrong with you, man? All right. So you had a couple of things here that was sent your way, and you asked me to post them up here. I'm going to give them to you right now. This is, let's see here. It takes a quick second. The first one, I'll go ahead and show this to you, Jackpot. And this is something you said you wanted to look at here. And I was like, all right, why does he want to talk about this? But here's the first one, Jackpot. Explain this one first. What's going on with this picture?
Okay, this was left on the video that I did yesterday. This is Tristan Smith at 9632. With the comment in all caps, it's not money line, guys. It's the spread with 500 exclamation points. Then stupid, but that's what it is. Okay, well, since we want to be all, passive aggressive here, since you don't agree with something, you just want to let the whole world know about it instead of just bringing it to the attention of the people who run the thing. Look, it takes a little bit of skill and knowledge and prowess, as it were, to pick games against the spread. anybody could, we're always going to put our teams in each week's lineup of games. Okay, so the spread for Clemson and Charleston Southern is 50. Okay,
Right.
and Clemson beats them 49-3. Okay, well, Clemson doesn't cover the spread. Well, probably half the people are going to get that right, and half are going to get it wrong. If we just went with money lines, everybody's going to pick Clemson, and everyone would get that right. There's no fun in that.
Right.
Rob, would you agree with that? I mean, how else would you explain that?
I agree with you, and I think Tristan just misunderstood, and I think that's why he put it out there, because he didn't want people. Because last season he picked it was his first time in the contest, and I think he just got confused. And I think that the point of that was to let everybody know it's not just picking the games who you think will win. Now, I do have people that come every week and they're like, it is against the spread, right? I mean, even in week 2 or 3, and I'm like, it doesn't change. So
yeah, that's what the little numbers are out there for. But why it's stupid? Why is it stupid? I mean, I don't get that. That's how pretty much every contest is run. I mean, CBS runs one too. Same exact thing. Is it stupid?
Look, Tristan's not a bad dude. He was confused, and I think he was trying to keep other people from being confused. So look at me defending the Tennessee man.
Okay. All right. Moving on from that.
All right. But I agree with you, Jackpot. That what you're saying makes a lot of sense. All right. The next one is this one right here. You mean to read? I'll read this first for everybody.
Okay,
so my wife,
my eyesight is
This is from Dale Chambers 4787. Laying in the bed, scrolling her phone, and I just turned this on to watch. And in the first 2 minutes, she was asking if I could please turn it off. She didn't want to hear all that. That language has to be driving people away. She's never never had to say that about a Sports Talk J stream. Your streams are brutal in mixed company, guys.
Okay, so I don't understand the context here. My wife was laying in bed scrolling her phone, and I turned that on. So you turned it on to watch on her phone. So you are sharing the phone. Okay, that's sweet.
Or maybe they're laying in bed together, and he's watching on his phone, and she's over there scrolling on her phone, and maybe that was what was going on.
Okay, well, within the first 2 minutes. So I went back and listened to the last episode, and Rob, you curse a lot. No, I'm just kidding. We both curse a lot. Look, but this is like kind of like, I guess you could almost I don't want to say water cooler talk, but I would say a bunch of guys who've been working on a car sitting down and then discussing college football talk. And there are going to be a few profanities thrown around. It's not meant to be nasty or off-putting, so I apologize in advance if it is. However, I mean, I really don't think that we're going to be able to just totally cut that out. I mean, when I'm having a conversation and I get heated about something, I might throw an expletive in there, an F-bomb. I try to do better, but and so Sports Talk Jay, they never heard that. Well, that's fine. And he does a good show. But for Sports Talk Jays, it's a totally different format. So
right. Well, and look, first of all, if we offended your wife, we're sorry. We don't come into these shows thinking, how can we offend Daryl Chambers' wife? How can we do that? We don't wake up in the morning and clap our hands and think, how can we do that? Now, the thing is that we like to think that our show is at a point where, and Jackpot, correct me if I'm wrong, but we want people to feel like they can just come on the show and be a part of the show. It's a guy-centered show. I admit that. It's almost like locker room talk is kind of the best way to put it. But we're not trying to offend your wife. Now, your wife may not like it.
And we need some female listeners. Over on the analytics page on the videos, it will tell you if you look at it under the audience tab, what percentage of your audience, what age group they're in, what country they're from, and all of this is, who knows if it's accurate, but 100% of whoever watches my videos most times is male. And I mean, we need to get a little bit of JJ in the mix.
Well, Beth has been watching our show since Conrad was over here broadcasting from Russia, and she is a retired educator. I think she taught for Lord only knows how many years. I don't want to speak for her out there, but she did. She's one of the women that listen to our show, and she says she needs to see it.
In a good 35.
Probably, she says she needs to see it when Kale's head explodes, basically. And yeah, you're right about that.
My first grade teacher, she was pretty old when I had her. I mean, excuse me. Let me rephrase that. When she was my teacher, she was pretty old at Taylor's Elementary School. And I don't know, it was probably a couple of years ago, just for the heck of it. I had her in what? That was 1982, I think. Yeah, when I was in first grade. Anyway, I Googled her name. She had her last name was very unique. And I Googled her name, I don't know, a couple of years ago just because I was bored. And I found out she died in 1997. And I was like, oh, shit. I felt bad.
Well, let's take a couple of comments and Biscuit's ready to join the program. Dwayne says, I suppose hearing being skull fucked might be a tad offensive. There are things that I say on the show sometimes that are not very good, as the wife peers at me right now. I do not apologize for the guy that was making fun of special needs kids last week when I told him that he should die in a fire. I'm not taking that back. I still hope he dies in a fire. So, yeah, there's that. And sometimes I feel bad with some of the stuff that I say, but except for that comment. Let's bring Biscuit into the program. Biscuit, you're on the air. Don't curse. It might offend someone.
Yeah, I was calling to complain because, guys, I was in church and I was sitting in a pew during Mass and I turned your show on and the priest got upset because you guys were cussing. And then I was in a nursery with 3-year-olds and the parents were in there and they heard you cussing, so they're mad at you too. I mean,
what did the priest? What did he have to say?
I mean,
please tell us what your priest said, sir.
Know me by name.
Oh, he stopped the Mass and told me I was going to hell, and that I need to not listen to that sort of gibberish from 2 South Carolina boys.
Baylor Man says he misses Comrade. He made the show family friendly. Yeah. Get the hell out of here with that.
Who's family?
Oh goodness!
No, I mean, why would you listen to a nighttime YouTube program with someone who you think might be offended by cursing? Was he not aware of the? Is it the first time listening to the program or something? Or
if you listen to our program though, there is some stuff in there that is not. It's not just curse words. I mean, there's, I think we put some good football content out there. And just other things as well. But apparently we offended this man's wife, and I guess she told him to give us a talking to. So you can go back and tell her you gave us a talking to, sir, and I'll tell her to send me an email, and I'll apologize myself via email. Or she can meet me up, send me a message on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good, and I'll apologize to her there.
Why would you apologize? Why would you apologize?
I don't know.
Send you any booze.
I don't know. I'm trying to help this guy out. I don't want him to. I don't want his wife.
You know how you can help him out. You can tell him to get up and go in his office or something and listen to your show. That's how it works.
That's a good point.
There you go.
Get yourself some AirPods, sir. There you go.
So the purpose of my call tonight, though, is as you guys know, I'm always into beating up some of my fellow fans in terms of national championships. That's been a thing that's been ongoing for a long time. So I saw an article the other day that was actually created in 2019 where someone actually went through from 2019 and before. It doesn't include, LSU, Alabama, and the 2 Georgia championships. Gee, what do those teams have in common? Can't think. Oh, maybe they're in the same conference. But 2019 and before, all the way back to 1800s, they went through and determined who should be the national champion based on the results of the games and who had the better performance. And I think you guys would be pretty surprised to see how many national championships were taken away from some of our friends legitimately.
Oh, Alabama claims 2 national titles that were given to them by one publication was it was literally the Alabama student newspaper. It was like the Dixie Republic. I'm not making that up. It was
they had
hey, they lost 4 games, but they declared themselves the national champion. And in their Hall of Champions, a 4-loss Alabama team is your national championship winner, and that's not
a
a
national
joke.
championship one year when they were ranked 19th in the AP poll.
That's the year they lost 4 games.
I'm confused what you were or what this article was. So
yeah,
they're looking at year by year which team performed the best or had the best record, but they weren't the national champion. Is that
they looked to find out who was the okay, so they would only give the national championship to a team that actually tried to claim it. Mm-hmm. But they also pointed out situations where someone isn't claiming it, but they should. So, for example, there's a year where Tennessee claims a national championship when they lost to Maryland in their bowl game, but Maryland finished undefeated.
Well, that's not
Maryland finished undefeated 12-0. They beat Tennessee by 15, but Tennessee claims a national championship. And
so the Turtles beat the Voltards, and the Voltards are still trying to claim that shit.
Yeah, and there's a number of those. So this basically brought now this is prior to Alabama's COVID championship in 2020, but it brought their total down to 11. So they have actually 12. What they're
everything was just
12, should have 12.
Everything was so much different back then. I know. What was it like in 1969? Texas played Arkansas, and like they were both undefeated, and it was a regular season game, and like there were still like 2 games left in the regular season. Like Texas won or something, and like in the locker room after the game, when they were Richard Nixon came in there and like proclaimed them as the national champions.
Well, what the argument is that they used to declare the last poll, the last AP poll, and actually they had a ton of polls back then, but the last polls would come out before the bowl games were played. So essentially, a national championship, even though they didn't declare national champions, would be declared before the bowl game. So
there you
the
go.
argument by fans of teams that have a lot of those is that, hey, those are just the rules back then. But if you actually logically use your brain and have sense, then you know. You can determine kind of, some of them are harder to determine, but you can kind of say, hey, if I lose in my bowl game, I probably wasn't the best team in the country that year, that sort of thing.
Billy makes a point here that needs to be put out there. Normally, Billy doesn't say anything that makes sense, but this is valid. He says he forgot to tell you that back then national championships were declared before the bowl games. That is correct. I mean, I hate to bring that up and poo-poo your argument there, but a lot of times there were votes that they put the national champion out before the bowl games were even played.
No, that's what I just said. No, 100%. But the problem is that a lot of people, the national champion wasn't declared, and a lot of them, including Alabama in the 1980s, went back and looked back at these and declared themselves national champions. So, in other words, you should be taking into account the entire schedule then at that point, not just when some paper decided that they were going to, or some organization decided they were going to declare it and not ignore a particular game. So,
good point, sir.
So anyway, Tennessee was reduced to 3 because they lost in 3 of their bowl games. I mean, Alabama was given 11, but they said that in 1953, Notre Dame actually should have the claim, by far the best team, but they don't claim it for some reason.
Chris Foster over in the comments section
here we go.
Says bowl games don't matter unless you're a UGA fan trying to make a point.
I don't even know what that means.
Unless you beat Clemson, I guess. And you
bowl games used to mean something, and now they don't. I don't understand.
Actually, I'd argue back then they meant more because there weren't as many. And so when you went to a bowl game back in the 50s and 60s, it meant something. I mean, it was a big deal.
You went to a bowl game in the 80s, it meant something.
Right. I agree. I mean, compared to I keep hearing like for example, Georgia Tech fans will bring up their bowl streak for 17 years. Well, that's not a big deal. That means you went 6-6, or you got a free pass, went 5-7, and got them to approve you to play in a game because there weren't enough teams to go to bowl games. So having a bowl streak these days doesn't really mean as much. But I would say I would make the argument that in the example I described, if you are an undefeated team and you go and play another undefeated team and they beat you by 15 points and they finish undefeated and you don't, I don't think you're the national champion. It's not different rules, it's common sense.
Yeah, well, some people don't. It's one of those things where if you're declared that you've got something, you think that, hey, they said we've got it, you're not taking it from us. So I'm swimming at the same stream there.
I didn't realize until last night when Mr. Rec Talk called into Uncle Lou's show that, prior to Paul Johnson leaving, they had made a bowl game like 16 years in a row.
Yeah, that's actually what made me think of it. What you just said, it was a 16. That's what I'm talking about. Now, not that that's anything wrong with that. I mean, that's good, but
Right.
all you have to do, what do you have to do to get into a bowl game now? Go 6-6, and you have to beat three FBS teams. Isn't that usually?
They've had some
3-6
bowl teams too. So there's that.
You go 3-6 against D1, and you're in a bowl game. I mean, it's not a huge challenge. Now, going on for Tech to go on a streak like that's good. But
I can't believe they won a national championship. Like, I remember it happening.
I do too.
But like, it wasn't memorable. Like, they had a blemish on the record though. Like, they had a tie or something. Like,
I think they tied North Carolina or something like that during the season.
Yeah, what was that like? That was 1990, right?
Yeah, but 1990. But here's the problem with that. So the way the bowls worked out that year, for that quote unquote national championship in their bowl game, they played like the 19th ranked Nebraska team who had just gotten destroyed by Oklahoma. So they didn't even play a team that was really on that level. So it'd be nice to be able to win a national championship by playing the 19th ranked team.
Here's the thing with that team, that Georgia Tech team. They went 6-0-1. Their tie was with North Carolina. They beat Clemson by 2 at Bobby Dodd.
I remember that game
in front of 46,000 people. Holy shit! And then they played Georgia in Athens and beat them by 17. I just thinking about Georgia losing by 17 in Athens to Georgia Tech.
They play the game.
It's like the Twilight Zone.
That was the Grey Goff years.
Yeah.
Did they play the
I don't.
Their big win.
Actually, they did. They played the Gamecocks and beat them 27-6 at Bobby Dodd. Yep.
Their big win was over. I don't know if you remember. They played Virginia. Virginia was number 1 ranked when they played.
Yeah.
It was Herman Moore and who was the other? There was like another Herman on.
Sean Moore.
Sean Moore. That was it. They both had the last name Moore.
So they won in Charlottesville. They beat Virginia Tech 6-3 at Bobby Dodd.
Do you remember when
this is a national championship team? Fuck me.
That was in Virginia, and Sean Moore was the quarterback, and I think it was the year before that, and he got hurt, and then they played the Vols in the bowl game. I think it was the Sugar Bowl, and their basketball point guard Matt Blunden started at quarterback in spot of Sean Moore. And I think they lost, but yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I want to address one last thing. So what are some of the dumbest arguments that you hear fans bring to you? Because one of them that I hear all the time is this. It's usually from Ohio State fans, and it starts with something like, the SEC is top heavy because the only teams they have are Georgia, Alabama, and LSU.
I can buy into the SEC being top heavy. I think the thing that gets me with fans from the Big Ten is that the thing with the weather. If they had to play in cold weather and snow, those SEC teams wouldn't be worth a shit.
But what's your criteria for top heavy? What does that mean? So you're only top heavy if you can name half your teams are national title contenders. Like, how many national title contenders can one conference have? Someone has to lose.
Okay.
I mean,
I still think that. The thing is, I think there's a big drop off from 3 to 4. Is what I'm trying.
But the thing, the difference is too. The middling teams in the SEC, the middling teams, like the 5th through the 10th or 11th, are better than the other conferences' middling teams.
Yeah, you mean like the probably the 10th or 11th best team in the SEC, Florida, who beat the Pac-12 champion.
Yeah.
I mean, how many more example? I mean, I just don't understand how. I'm not saying that from top to bottom, 1 to 14, all of them are national title contenders, but to sit there and go, it's top heavy because you only have 3 national title contenders. How many national title contenders do other conferences have?
What you're saying makes a lot of sense, but I think what they're trying to say to you is that the number 6 team in your conference isn't as good as those top 3. and they should be treated like the 6th team instead of saying, well, they're the 6th team. They would beat every fucking body in the Big Ten.
Well,
I don't buy that. I don't buy that.
I think it makes sense that our 6th best team isn't as good as our 2nd or 1st best team. That makes
that's my argument with it. But you'll have people
if you're going to do a comparison, then you're going to do 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2, 6 versus 6. I'll take who would be our 6?
Look and see. Look at the Tennessee fans. Tennessee beat the ACC champion, and they spelled championship wrong. Taylor made right after him. Tennessee waxed the ACC champ. Okay, you know what? How about we look at, I don't know, Wake Forest putting up a double nickel on Texas A&M. Do you want to bring up stuff like that? They ran up and down. They'd still be scoring on them. You want to talk about things like that?
Okay, so
it's ridiculous.
Hold on. Wake Forest was your 3rd best team in your conference?
I don't remember that season.
What was Texas A&M in ours? 10th?
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
They were,
probably 5-7 last year. I mean,
no, I'm talking about from like 3 years ago. I'm talking about from 3 years ago.
Been worse than 12th.
I'm talking about from 3 years ago, sir. I'm just throwing out random.
Okay, so 3 years ago, I don't know. I don't remember exactly. So it was 20. You're talking about 2020, the COVID year.
I think it was the year before the COVID year. No, but they played each other in the postseason. I'm just saying that it's the first thing that comes out of the simpleton's mouth is, oh well, this team beat the ACC champion. That doesn't hold weight, man. Not the way bowl games are set up now.
Why would that not hold weight? Those are
because the bowl games are completely different now, sir.
Hold on, those are two.
You didn't have
the less than 60
teams
minutes
there.
long now, or fucking they play them with 9 players on a side or something. How they different?
That is legit, and I'll tell you why. Because if we were going apples to apples, it would have been Clemson against Georgia, and we know what would have happened there that last year. So what I'm saying is if you're playing our 2nd or 3rd best team, or whoever, if you want to claim that Tennessee was our number 2 last year, that's fine. I can live with that. So. But the number 2 went in and played the ACC's number 1, and what happened?
Right,
that's an argument. That's a huge argument.
Okay, I've broke this down before. The bowl games don't mean as much now as they did before. I don't understand why people can't put that out there. There were things that were going into not just that game, but other games too, where you didn't have your best players on the field because of opt-outs and everything else.
Tennessee starting quarterback.
That's fine. That's fine, but it's still across the board. Both teams didn't have the same team they rolled out there on Labor Day.
Yeah, but I would say if we were going to argue what impact the players had, I agree with you on some level that some of these bowl games there's a drop off, and sometimes it's an excuse, from Georgia. We hear from Georgia fans about the Texas game where, well, we didn't care about that game, and some of it's BS because too bad. If you didn't come there with your A game, you didn't come there with your A game. But to be fair, in that game, Georgia didn't have some of their players there. What's that?
Well, Georgia didn't have some of their players play in that game.
I agree, but I don't like making excuses.
It's the same thing.
Hey, you know what? If they didn't have and as a matter of fact, we had a cornerback that sat out and went and was on the sidelines there. Who was it? I forgot who we had on the sidelines.
Right.
And he was a distraction, and it was a problem. But I'm not going to go to a Texas fan and say, well, we didn't care, because that's.
I'm not saying it's an issue of not caring. It's not an issue of not caring. It's not having the same people on the field. That's the whole thing from it. I mean, and I truly believe that, and I think that's why the bowl games, in my opinion, don't matter anymore.
Yeah,
I mean, we
can from the side of Tennessee when you're saying that about that particular game because they didn't have.
What are you talking about?
Quarterback.
Was that the
bowl
game that impacts
Tennessee fans? Tennessee fans will tell you they didn't need him. They don't need him. That's a lot of them.
That's to their benefit. If they have a backup quarterback that can go in and sling, then that's what they have. That's to their benefit. It's not the Clemson's benefit.
Okay. Anything else, sir?
No, I reserve the right to call in again though later.
Fair enough. Thank you, Biscuit. All right, Jackpot. Thanks, man. Let's get to these over and under projections here. We'll start with Auburn, sir. Auburn is projected at 7 wins. Are you taking the over or under with Auburn?
Okay, well, let's take a look at their schedule here. Start off with UMass at home. Well, I mean, they've got a couple of gimme games here in the first 3. That and Samford, they got a couple of wins there. I think New Mexico State is another gimme win there at the end of the year. So that's 3. They do go on the road to Cal in week 2. That's interesting. Yeah, they're not a horrible team.
Right.
They're kind of, they finished in the lower half of the Pac-12 last year, but
Right.
they're not. Well, shit, they lost to Colorado last year, I think, didn't they? Were they Colorado's win last year?
I can check that. I don't know for
I think
sure.
they were. Scratch that. So that's 4. And they're over under 7. I don't understand that. I don't know how we can give them 7. They're on the road at Vanderbilt. I think they win there. I'm not sure they win. I think they probably get Mississippi State. That's at home. I'm going to go with I'm going to go under. I still lean under because other than Mississippi State and Vandy, I just don't see them winning. I don't see them winning another conference game. Yeah, I mean, I think they dropped the game at A&M. I think they dropped the game at Arkansas. I think they, get beat by Alabama like usual at the end of the season. I'm going to take the under on that.
Well, let me give you some numbers that I've got here. Hugh Freeze, his entire coaching career, has one season where his teams did not win 8 games or more, and that was his final year at Ole Miss when things were happening. So he that team was ranked 11th at the start of the season and only won 5 games. So Hugh Freeze, I don't know what the hell he does. Auburn fans in my Twitter feed are talking freeze warning all the time. I think 7 is a push, in my opinion, because I think that they're going to – I want to take the under, but on the other hand, when I look at it, you know what? I'm going to go with the under because I don't know who the hell their quarterback's going to be.
Well,
and
when
it comes to that, I'm just going to take the under.
This guy, he was a serviceable quarterback in the Big Ten,
right?
But he's not. I don't know if he's SEC caliber or not.
Right. I'm gonna go with the under because I'm not really sure on their quarterback. So I don't like. It seems like we felt like this about Auburn for the past 4 seasons, Jackpot, where it's like Auburn could be 8-4, they could be 4-8, and neither one of us would be surprised.
Nah, they're a damn wet fart that he's fucking going.
Well, speaking of wet farts, I'm probably the 4th best team in the state of Florida, the Florida Gators. Their over and under is at 5.5, Jackpot. Florida will, let's see here. Where's the Florida Gators on my my chart here? They play at Utah to start the season. Then they have McNeese, Tennessee, Charlotte at Kentucky, Vanderbilt at South Carolina, bye week, then Georgia, Arkansas at LSU, at Missouri, and then Florida State. So,
see, after the bye week, after the Gamecocks game, that's kind of a brutal stretch. You could even the game, even the game at Mizzou. You got to go on the road. That's a tough stretch of games there for the Gators.
Well, here's my thing with them. It is interesting that one of my big things last year was I thought they were going to be the shits against Utah, and they ended up winning that game. And Utah ended up having a good season, and they essentially kept Utah out of the mix there. But I think they'll win over McNeese, Charlotte, Vanderbilt, and after that, it's hard for me to sit here and say, okay, there's going to be another win or two here or there to get them into the 5-win mark. So it's hard for me to pick them to go over 5.5, Jackpot. It really is.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with under. I think they win like 5 games. I think they win those, and then they pull out something there. I'm not sold on the Gamecocks beating them either. Last year was less than a year ago. And we had a tough time with them stopping that run game. So
So I've had 2 Tennessee fans that have said something to me via Twitter, Facebook, whatever, and said until that Tennessee goes down and wins in the Swamp, they don't think that's an easy win either. And I mean, I think it's not. I mean, winning down there is not easy. So, but I just think that I think he's 2 recruiting classes behind, in my opinion. I think that program still has the Will Muschamp stench on it. Remember, everything that Muschamp touches turns to shit. So they still have that, even though he went to another program.
I can't wait for this Shoemaker guy to get a head coaching job somewhere, and for them, Georgia, to make him the full-fledged defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
the guy's ass. I mean, South Carolina, he was supposed to be. Everybody talked about he was a brilliant defensive mind. Our defenses were not good under him. Especially the last couple of years, they were terrible. And we had talent there. I mean, you had J.C. Horn. I mean, you had a first-round draft pick.
No, he was the first defensive player taken in the NFL draft. That's an absolute fact. But this whole idea that Muschamp is just this great coach, that and the fact he defended a guy who let a guy die under his watch, he's a scumbag. Fuck that guy. Next up on the list is Alabama. I started normally I go in alphabetical order. I have my paper wrong, but Alabama over and under 10.5 jackpot. Let's look at the Tide schedule real quick here. Middle Tennessee, Texas, at South Florida. Why is Alabama playing at South Florida? What the fuck is that? Ole Miss, at Mississippi State, at A&M, Arkansas, Tennessee, bye week, LSU, at Kentucky, Chattanooga, and then at Auburn. 10.5 jackpot.
Easy. It's over. They got something to prove. I'm telling you, there are too many people doubting that team this year.
Yeah.
And
didn't we kind of said that on the program last week that if you're betting against Nick Saban, you generally lose a good bit.
Oh.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So I love these. I love these people are like, oh, they're going to lose to Texas. The toughest game on their schedule is LSU, in my opinion.
They have one of the best secondaries in the country, probably the best. I mean, Texas coming in and beat. I mean, until it happens. I mean, last year was Alabama. They really dodged a bullet there.
So we're both going over, right?
Yeah.
All right. Next is Arkansas. Arkansas, let's look at their schedule really quick here. Arkansas goes to, they have Western Carolina. Man, Jesus, listen to this shit. Western Carolina, Kent State. Then they have BYU at home. Then they go to LSU. They play Texas A&M. They play at Ole Miss. They go to Bama, Mississippi State, bye week. Then at Florida, Auburn, FIU, and then Missouri on a Friday. Over and unders at 7. I'm going to go under.
You going under?
I'm going under because I think that KJ Jefferson could be a guy that he could have like this big, huge season. And I get that, but I think that just looking at the schedule, I mean, I don't think they may lose to BYU. I think LSU beats them. I think they lose at Ole Miss. I think they lose at Bama. Auburn may get them. And remember, Arkansas is Mizzou's toilet. So I think Mizzou beats them too.
Yeah, I'm not buying that. I think they beat Auburn, and I think they get the Mizzou monkey off their back this year. I think somebody else does this year too. I mean, it's just time. I mean, numbers would tell you that this time they beat Mizzou. And they're not losing to BYU. Come on.
They might. Never know. Georgia over and under is 11.5 jackpot. I mean, the Bulldogs have. Are they going 12-0 or not? That's basically what we're rolling with here. There's a lot of talk about maybe their schedule is the shits. When you look at the Georgia schedule. I mean, they play UT Martin, Ball State, South Carolina, UAB at home, 4 straight games to start the season before they head to a rebuilding Auburn. They come home for Kentucky. Go on the road to Vanderbilt, bye week, then the Florida matchup, followed by Mizzou at home, as well as Ole Miss. Then they go to Tennessee, and then they play at Georgia Tech. Are they going to get 12?
Okay, yes, their non-con schedule is soft. I mean, they can't help it that Georgia Tech's not any good. I mean, is that their fault? And I mean, then there was that whole debacle, whole thing with the Oklahoma game that they had scheduled. They canceled it, but I mean, I was told the SEC told them to cancel it. So, but then we're going to get besmirch them for having a weak schedule because they had to replace Oklahoma with somebody. I guess they replaced them with UAB or Ball State. I don't know.
Right.
I'm going to go over because if you're going to screw up somewhere, and you're an elite team like that, you're generally going to screw up on the road. And, they're not losing to Tennessee. Just stop. I mean, they're not losing at Tennessee. And then outside of that, none of these road games that they play are particularly daunting to me. Vanderbilt, no. At Auburn's shits. Maybe Auburn gets it. That's kind of earlier in the season. Maybe Auburn gets a little something going. I don't know. And maybe towards the end of the year, might be a little bit of a tougher out for somebody. But at that point, I don't see it.
So it's hard to pick against all that talent and say, hey, they're going to go 12-0. But I'm going to go with the under and say that they go 11-1 and they slip up somewhere because it's just too hard to do that over and over and over again. No Stetson Bennett. I think that may come back and bite them. And new offensive coordinator. Maybe they'll slip up somewhere. I don't know where it's going to be, but they may drop a game they have no business dropping. And I still think they go to the SEC championship game. So,
well, that's what I was thinking too. If I had picked a loss there, I would say they still go to the SEC game. I mean, maybe Georgia Tech gets them.
Let's not get crazy here.
I mean, no, but yeah.
So look, the next one is Kentucky. Over and under for the Wildcats is at 6.5. I mean, I feel dirty reading this schedule, but Ball State, Eastern Kentucky, Akron, at Vandy, home with Florida, at Georgia, Mizzou, bye week, home for Tennessee, at Mississippi State, Alabama at home. They go to South Carolina, and then they play Louisville. Over and under 6.5, jackpot.
Yeah, I like the quarterback. I like Devin Leary at quarterback. I think the lines of scrimmage. I think the offensive line is going to be improved. They have transfer talent there. They've got a really good receiving core to complement Devin Leary. Ray Davis from Vanderbilt is an effective rusher, and then along with the Devin Leary's sidekick there from NC State, who wouldn't come to South Carolina but decided to go to Kentucky to be a backup. 6.5. I mean, you got like four gimme games here. I think they get the revenge win against Vandy. One of the things here that's really going to be one that really turns this one way or the other is the game at Mississippi State, because they don't play well in Starkville, and they haven't won there since I don't remember. I think it's like 2007 was the last time, and they play each other every year. Was the last time they won in Starkville. Can they get that monkey off their back? I don't know. Do they win at Louisville? A lot of people are high on Louisville. I'm not really sure why. I'm going to go over. And I'm not totally convinced the Gamecocks are beating them either.
Man, that non-con schedule is just bullshit. They're playing a MAC.
Well, it does every year. That's what they play
fucking
every
ridiculous.
year. They haven't played. They have not played a Power 5 opponent in the non-conference besides Louisville since 2003. 20 years ago, they played Indiana in the non-con, and that was the only other they played besides Louisville. That is just
Trash.
disgusting.
Very Florida-like. Wesley, thanks for the super chat. He says he can't wait to kick them Shamecocks and the Nads this year. Go Vols. Very good, sir. You know what? I'm going to go with Jackpot because of their
Wesley disappeared
schedule.
after 63-38. It's good to see him back again.
Yeah, I mean,
he was still alive. I wondered for a while.
He needed a break, Jackpot.
He was dead, so.
Yeah, he probably was. He was Casper. He was Casper the Ghost. Was not here. So I'll take the over with Kentucky there because they've only got – they win their non-con schedule and then I think Devin Leary, though, I mean, the guy's coming back from a torn pec. That shit takes a while to heal. I don't know how that's going to work out for him. So there you go with that. All right, up next, Jackpot, is Mississippi State. Mississippi State is at 6.5 wins, sir.
That just really hard to predict. Really hard to predict, right? You know, you got to think they're going to have an emotional chip on their shoulder this year. So I mean, I don't know how far that carries them.
Right.
New offense. How does Will Rogers adjust to more of a pro style attack from the old air raid offense that Mike Leach is running? And then their schedule, if I can, pull up a schedule here.
I've got their schedule. They've got SLU, Arizona, LSU, at South Carolina, Alabama, Western Michigan, bye week, at Arkansas, at Auburn, Kentucky, at A&M, Southern Miss, and then Ole Miss.
See, I mean, I only see three games there that are layups. I mean, the game at home against Arizona, Arizona's improved a lot, and a lot of people are high on them. Mississippi State last year went out there and kind of had their way with them in the fourth quarter. But is that game this year? I mean, does that turn out the same? I mean, I'm not sure.
It's hard to predict with them because we don't know what kind of team they're going to be. We really don't. We don't know shit, to be honest with you.
I'm going to play it safe. I'm going under.
Yeah, I'm going to go under as well.
I'm going under with the old Bulldogs.
All right, LSU is our next team here. They've got Florida State, and that's at a neutral site. Grambling, followed by Mississippi State on the road, Arkansas at home, then Ole Miss. They go to Mizzou, Auburn, Army, bye week. They didn't do a Tennessee and not schedule Army, by the way. They're fucking them. We'll play the Army, folks.
They said bring on.
Yeah, bring on Army. We're not scared of them.
Yeah, Syracuse
Alabama,
did too.
Yeah, Florida, Georgia State, and then Texas A&M. So over and unders at 9.5 for LSU. First of all, let me put this out there. I know you guys think that I'm an ACC apologist and everything else. They are going to beat the shit out of Florida State. They're going to bring all this FSU hype back down to nothing. The more and more I look at Florida State and their coach, and just LSU has Kelly. I think is he did more than I thought he was going to do last year. But yeah, I think they beat the shit out of Florida State. So I think that's definitely one win there. I think they beat Grambling. I mean, the tough games on the schedule obviously are at Alabama, and I mean, I guess at Ole Miss. I mean, I think LSU goes over. I really do. Yeah, I think LSU goes over.
I think they go over as well. And that with that Florida State game, that would be the deciding factor there. And I just don't think defensively that Florida State's going to have all the answers there. I really don't. I don't know that LSU beats the shit out of them. But I think they do. I think they get a convincing win.
All right, up next is Mizzou. Over and under of 6.5 wins. Mizzou's schedule is as follows, sir. Mizzou will play – where's Missouri? Okay. They've got South Dakota, Middle Tennessee State, Kansas State, Memphis, at Vandy, LSU, at Kentucky, South Carolina bye week at Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, and Arkansas. Over and under 6.5.
See, I think this is another 6-6 team. I mean, I'm going to go under. I think it's a 6-6 team. I think they'll be good defensively again, but I think their offense is just challenged, and which is sad. I mean, bad because they have some good receivers. They just don't have a quarterback that can get it to them. And we already saw this. Whatever this kid's name is last year,
Brady Cook.
Yes, he's not very good. Now he played well against the Gamecocks, good enough to win, but yeah, I don't know.
So I think that looking at the schedule, the hinge game for them, in my opinion, to get the over is going to be the matchup with Kansas State. If they can beat Kansas State at home, I think they'll start the season 5-0. I really do. And then after that, they'll play LSU and come back down to earth. So, I think their defense is going.
They're not beating Kansas State.
They're playing Kansas State at home. I'm just saying it's the hinge game, Jackpot.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
They're not Kansas State. What the deal with them is Kansas State does less with more. Kansas State is much better coached than Mizzou is. I think Eli Drinkwitz.
That's not saying much, sir.
He made some good comments the other day about NIL and all that good stuff. But other than that, he's a fucking tard as far as in-game coaching and just decision making. He can recruit the hell out of that damn place, but when it comes to game day, oof.
He runs this. It's like you can literally call the plays. He's got like 7 plays that he calls. It's fucking stupid. So you know what? Just because of that, I'm going to take the under. Fuck Mizzou.
He only needed like 4 plays to beat us.
Yeah, well, what does that say about you? Up next is Ole Miss. Over and under is 7.5. Look, when Ole Miss, their season goes with Mercer. They go to Tulane, Georgia Tech, at Alabama, LSU, Arkansas, bye week, at Auburn, Vandy, Texas A&M, at Georgia, Louisiana Monroe, and then, of course, the Egg Bowl. Over and under is at 7.5, Jackpot. Which way you rolling there?
Yeah, I'm going to go over. So I'm high on Ole Miss. I mean, Lane Kiffin's got his choice pretty much of 3, at least we know 2 proven quarterbacks. And then he's got a third really, really young, talented one.
He's got one of the best running backs in the conference, too. So
he's got the best running back in the conference. And he's got rushed for like 1,600 yards last year as a freshman. As long as that defense, those lines of scrimmage hold up, they've got a good returning offensive line. I think Ole Miss is going to be something to deal with. And that game there, the game against Georgia, if that were on the road, that might be a potential slip-up spot for them. But they're not losing to Ole Miss in Sanford Stadium. But
so I believe in Lane Kiffin having more than 7 or 8 wins. So I'm going to take the over there. He'll just that the skill positions, they're going to be fine.
Yeah, and Kuhn makes a good point. He put 1,600 yards last year, Quinshon Junkins, and that was splitting carries with Zach Evans, who's not there anymore. He was a transfer portal guy that come from TCU, I think. Yeah. So, that's,
Up next is Tennessee. Their over and under is at 9 wins, Jackpot. Everybody's in love with Joe Milton III. Here's the thing with that, though. And I think that I want to say maybe Biscuit said this a couple weeks. I don't remember, but someone else said this, and it kind of shined the light on it here. Milton is going to come in, and he's got, I think it's like 70% of their offense is gone. the idea that he can just come in and do what Hendon Hooker did, I think is just fool's gold, in my opinion. I just don't see it. But let's look at the Tennessee schedule here. They play Virginia, Austin P. They go to Florida, UTSA, followed by South Carolina at home. Then a bye week before they play Texas A&M. Then they go to Alabama, to Kentucky, UConn. That's a weird place for a game like that. Then at Mizzou, Georgia, and Vanderbilt. I mean, I think that 9 wins. It's kind of hard to take the over there, so I'm going to go with the push jackpot at 9.
I'm not sold on them beating Georgia, obviously. I think they're losing to Alabama. You're not winning in Tuscaloosa. I don't care what you did last year. Last year was last year. It was magical for a reason.
Right.
And then you're losing to someone else. It could be that game against Kentucky. It could be that you could lose to the Gamecocks again. You say you're not because you're so focused on beating South Carolina by 50. You may lose by 10.
No, but I have had Tennessee fans say that until they go down to Florida and actually win, stop trying to just count that as, we're just going to check that off as a win.
Yeah,
are they a better team?
There's this game against Texas A&M at home.
Right.
I don't know. I think Tennessee beats A&M in Knoxville. Everybody's real quick to talk about, jackpot. Texas A&M got all this talent without letting you know who the talent is that they think's talented. I mean, nobody can tell us this. So that's later. Is that later in the year? I think it is.
Right.
Jimbo and Bobby Petrino may be at each other's throats by that point.
Right.
And I mean, how sold are we on them beating Virginia?
Oh, they're gonna beat the shit out of Virginia. Virginia's
gonna bury them.
They're gonna. I think they'll win that game by probably 17 or more. But there are games on that schedule that
you want to also the week before they play the Gamecocks. That game against UTSA. I think it may be a little bit too close for comfort.
Look, it's not far-fetched to think they could start 0-2 in conference play. I mean, you're going to win at the Swamp. I mean, that's what you're saying. Okay, we're going to go down and win at the Swamp, and then we're going to beat a South Carolina team that beat the shit out of us last year.
We're going to beat them by 50.
Yeah, we're going to beat them by 50, which, by the way, no one has went to @RobSoundsGood and said, hey, I'll give you South Carolina in 49.
Well,
would anybody be shocked if they started the season 0-2 in conference play? Probably not. It's not like they go down to Florida and win every damn time they play down there anyway. And the last time they played South Carolina, they got goat roped. So there's that.
Chris Foster said South Carolina can't score in Neyland. Uh-huh.
What are you talking about, sir?
They scored 20 two years ago. I mean, the year before that, I think they scored 21. We score there. That game the year before, that 2019, that 2019 game, that really ticked me the fuck off. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, we were beating their ass 21-17 at halftime. They wasted. If you remember Brian Edwards, you remember that young man made a one-handed catch falling backwards into the end zone right at the end of the half. Do you remember that, Rob?
I do.
Yeah, and then they let Tennessee ride a blocked punt in the second half to a damn cheap-ass victory. And stupid Will Muschamp over the damn after the game with that stupid smirk on his face. I just wanted to smack the shit out of him.
Well, and look, and they're talking about South Carolina's only won 3 times in Neyland. Well, look, when you really you're talking about
years, Tennessee was actually good at one point. Well,
Tennessee,
they actually were viable at one time and had a pulse.
But the thing that gets me though is that when I say something along the lines of, maybe South Carolina could go in there and beat them. I mean, it's not, then they're like, okay, they only won in there 3 times. But when we talk about Florida and them playing Florida, when you look at, they've won, the last time they won in Gainesville was in 2003. That's the last time you won in Gainesville. So under your logic there, that South Carolina's only won 3 times in Neyland, then I guess I can say that you can go and lose to a shitty
cell
team in the
phones
swamp.
then? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, just stop with all that. I don't know how their defense is going to look. So nine's a fair number, I think. I really do.
Chris Foster said Tennessee averaged 42 in Neyland under Heupel. Yeah, against what? Akron and who else did they beat up? Ball State last year?
With all that. So I'm not into all that. I mean, it's just.
Oh, well, we beat Alabama though.
Yeah, you beat Alabama and you gave Alabama walked all over the field on you too. The Alabama defense didn't show up. But I think 9 wins is me being fair. Why? And look at this. TaylorMade says Rob's obsessed with Tennessee. Most people agree with me. 9 wins is not. I mean, that's a hell of a season.
I'm obsessed with them. They were the ones that came in on the over/under list.
Yeah, I didn't pick the over and under list. I got them at a push for 9.
With alphabetical order here.
I mean, I hope you lose to Austin Peay so I could all you people will go away. Yeah. Pull a Wesley and leave when a team hammers your ass. That would be funny. So Hunter says, so Rob's not on to statistics. Classic idiot comment. What comment did I make, sir? That was about statistics. What are you talking about? I'm surprised you spelled statistics correctly. Texas A&M over and under of 8.5 jackpot. Which way you going there with the Aggies? Their schedule. We'll give you that quickly here. New Mexico.
Under.
Okay. New Mexico at Miami, Louisiana Monroe, Auburn, Arkansas, Alabama at Tennessee, South Carolina at Ole Miss, Mississippi State, ACU. I don't even know what that is. And then at LSU. Yeah. Abilene Christian.
Rhodes played baseball there one year.
They're going to beat up on the Christians. So, yeah, I've got them. I'm going to go under on Texas A&M because they have the potential to be a dumpster fire with their offensive coordinator and their head coach just trying to, I don't know. It just seems like it's just going to be combustible. Under for them.
Hold on. Broski Bear wants me to explain the Penn State hat. And this is not an ugly comment. He actually was excited that I had that on. So, have relatives in Pennsylvania. Also go there every year. I don't think I'm going to be able to get to go this year. But that's my second favorite team outside the Gamecocks. Has been for a long time. So, I support Penn State. I catch a lot of flack, because of the Jerry Sandusky, whatever. I mean, and people to me throw out jabs about stuff like that are just low class. Now it's different. I can throw out barbs about Clemson's, linebacker recruit snapping pictures and putting them on his only friends or whatever the fuck. But I mean, those weren't young kids. I mean, this is just stupid hijinks, and that. So
well. Anyway, I think we both have Texas A&M at under, and jackpot's
prove it to me and I'll believe it. I don't think they're beating Tennessee at Tennessee. I don't, they're not beating LSU or Alabama. I'm not sold on them beating Ole Miss or Arkansas either. The other games, but I'm just. You have to show me something. Miami, that's an odd. Well, it's not an odd spot for a game. It's a return of a home series, and I don't know. I don't know where to go with that one. It was a close game last year. Neither team was very good. I'm kind of inclined to think A&M wins, but would it shock me if Miami beats them? No, not at all.
We'll have to see how that works out. 2 teams left, jackpot. Vanderbilt over and unders at 3.5. The Commodores have Hawaii, Alabama A&M, at Wake Forest, at UNLV, followed by Kentucky, Mizzou, Florida, Georgia.
I don't know what happened to him. I'll go on ahead and talk about Vanderbilt real quick if anybody can hear me. I don't know if you can or not. I guess Rob's having some I guess he's having some audio difficulties over there. Take the under on Vanderbilt. Everybody's saying over in the comment section. Take the under on Vanderbilt. They snuck up and beat a couple of teams in the SEC last year. The win over Kentucky was a good win. The win over Florida was kind of a little bit of a cheap win. They kind of benefited from a little bit of turnover luck and stuff. I don't think they're going to be able to get that this year. You're not going to be able to replicate that every year. And plus, these SEC teams are not going to kind of overlook them this year because they know that they're capable of winning SEC games. So I think they get 3 non-con wins there. I don't think they beat Wake Forest, and I don't think they beat anybody else in conference.
All right, so my dog ran across my cord back here and unplugged my stuff, so that took me a second. But yeah, I'm taking the under. I think they beat Hawaii, Alabama A&M, and at UNLV. I think they may lose that game. They may go 2-10. They lost their best player.
The time they played UNLV was in 2019 in Nashville, and they lost 37-10. That was under Derek Mason. UNLV is actually coached by a viable Power 5 coach in one Barry Odom.
Fuck Barry. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to curse. Sorry. You said that and didn't smile. I was like, fuck Barry Odom. Anyway.
Formerly of Mizzou.
All right, so final team here, and we're going to do game-by-game prediction on South Carolina as we get closer to the season, but South Carolina over and under of 6 wins. Shane Beamer has gone over in both of his seasons, and he's been there. When you look at South Carolina's schedule, they've got North Carolina to start the season, followed by Furman at Georgia, Mississippi State at Tennessee, bye week, then Florida at Mizzou, at A&M, Jacksonville State, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, and then Clemson at home. I think that 6 wins. I mean, I see 7 games on there that I think the Gamecocks will be favored going into that matchup. So I think 6 is low in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just it's with us. It's the same thing. It seems like every year, and
lack of depth.
There's just too many. There's too many toss-up games on that schedule. There's too many toss-up games. I mean, like I'm not giving out my official prediction yet. I still got to do my video on that. But there are a few games on there that I'm chalking up as pretty likely losses. It's about 3 of them there, and then a couple of 3 gimme games, and then the rest are toss-ups. And I just don't know which way they're going to go. I don't know what Mizzou is going to be by then. And laugh if you want to. I mean, I don't feel great about the game at home against Kentucky in late November. I don't feel great about it. I think they're going to be improved. It's easy to say, well, things are back to normal. We beat Kentucky last year, and kind of, I don't think that's the attitude, but it just seems like that could be a pitfall. You still got to get that Mizzou monkey off your back. The game against Florida, Florida's a dumpster fire and everybody laughs at them. But the fact of the matter is, Trevor Etienne and Montreal Johnson Jr. are still scoring touchdowns.
I think my thing with South Carolina is I don't know who the running back's going to be. And
well, it's going to be Dak Joyner. We know that.
But how effective is Dak Joyner going to be? We don't have a lot of, you have to show me that you're going to be the running back.
And I don't know. I mean, we've heard out of practice that he looks great. I mean, he's working hard at it. He's doing everything they ask him to. But here, the thing is, the guy has never played running back before at any level,
right?
Other than maybe Pee Wee League. I don't know. he's not been a running back, and now we're going to be a starting running back in the SEC.
Right. Yeah. How is his body going to take that? Because you're getting hit every play as a running back too. There's that. I don't know. And that's the thing. The linebacking core, is that still a question? The secondary, how are they going to they've lost some players there. Our defense is just going to double team Juice Williams and make Rattler throw to other guys that haven't really had an opportunity to put up big numbers yet. I don't know. And that's kind of why it's hard for me to sit here and say, I mean, I see 7 games that I think that Las Vegas will tell you they should be favored. And so I'm going to take the over there, but there are a lot of questions there. The running back room first, a second receiver after Juice Wells, and the offensive line is always there.
Second receiver behind Juice Wells.
Well, but are any of them proven though? I mean, let's be honest. Proven is what I'm going after.
Eddie Lewis from Memphis, caught almost 1,000 yards worth of balls last year.
Well, and that's fair, but nobody saw Juice Wells coming either. Maybe Shane Beamer found another guy and that could line up on the other side. None of us really know that yet.
Xavier Leggett is a quality receiver. He's got a big body. His hands last year were a problem. And if you're playing receiver, I'm saying he dropped a lot of balls. If you're going to be a receiver, that's an issue. Marion Brown, the little speedster, he's kind of effective on jet sweeps and some reverses and stuff, and getting out in space a little bit. Now I don't know what his role is going to be in the Rudy Bob offense.
Right, but Brock says I'm acting like the team is.
His players going to look different in the Rudy Bob system versus the Marcus Satterfield wheel of fuckery system from last season.
I don't think the entire team is garbage, sir. That's not what I was implying. I think that Spencer Rattler is going to be a top 3 quarterback in the conference. I really believe that. And I like the defensive side of the ball a good bit. I think that your defensive coordinator does the best with what he's got, and they're trying to get more guys there to help him. So I feel more better about them than a lot of other teams that are in the same.
I'm leaving off Trey Knox and the Simon guy from Western Kentucky at tight end. Those are going to be good players for us. Nick Harbor,
we don't know.
Got some world-class speed. We know that. I mean, is he going to be able to run these routes, and is he going to be able to learn the route trees and that type of stuff? So we'll have to see.
All right. Let's get to – I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I need to address a couple of hold on. Twisted Rooster said that Montrell Johnson was not at Florida anymore. According to the Phil Steele magazine, he is. Trevor Etienne's the starting running back. Montrell Johnson's the backup, unless he got kicked off the team recently, which is entirely possible at Florida. Somebody says Memphis with a bunch of question marks. Yes, Memphis. It's a team in Conference USA? The AAC. Them, the Tigers. Taylor Made's a Tennessee man. They beat you before. I think when Peyton Manning was there, didn't they beat Tennessee? I know they did.
Jackpot. Rob has an SEC bias. Has been waiting for like 30 minutes. Let's bring him in the show. I put the link over there if you guys want to join us. What do you have for the program, sir?
What's up, guys? How are y'all doing?
Good. What you got?
I was just scrolling through. I think 7 wins is probably good for South Carolina, but I always go into the season, kind of expecting us to take one of the, harder 3 games we have. So who knows what happens with that. But I think you will be guaranteed to beat at least one of Georgia, Clemson, and Tennessee. But what I wanted to call about is more about coaching. Do y'all think right now Shane Beamer and Josh Heupel are two of like the hottest coaches right now? Because I imagine it's a matter of time before someone starts to try and swoop in and get Beamer out from under us, just with what he's done already. But what do y'all think?
You want to go first, Jackpot, or
They definitely are two of the hottest newer coaches. Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that.
Right.
Now, Heupel's been in the head coaching game a couple of years longer than Beamer has.
Yeah, Central Florida, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was at UCF. Yeah, both of them have their teams on an upward trajectory, as Billy Cole would say. That's for sure. As far as somebody going and poaching Beamer from South Carolina, I mean, it's possible. I think they would try. He says he wants to be at South Carolina. It's the only place he wants to be.
You need to give him an
I don't
extension.
know. That's kind of probably a lot of coach speak. Somebody said something. I don't know. I'm not high on the coach at Virginia Tech. They might cut this guy loose after this year or after next year. Would he go to Virginia Tech if they came calling? I mean, that's where he went. That's where his dad coached. I don't know. I don't know that Virginia Tech can outbid South Carolina.
I think South Carolina is a better job than Virginia Tech is right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Virginia Tech's an absolute dumpster fire.
Right now.
I don't know what happened to that program. That was just sad.
Do you think the school would just match whatever offer came in on them? Like, how do you think that would play out?
Well, South Carolina's got more money. They've got more money. I mean, look, it's not going to come down to money. It's going to come down to, does Shane Beamer is it just a thing with his heart that he wants to go and coach where his dad coached? I think that's what it will be. It's not going to be an issue of funding or a coaching pool numbers and all that. I don't think it's going to be any of that. I mean, I really, really don't. I think it's going to be, do you want to go where your dad coached? And there's nothing that, I don't think South Carolina has. That's the only thing against South Carolina when it comes to that. But I mean, he seems to love it there too. That was where he kind of grew his coaching wings and all that shit there. So
he didn't cut his teeth at Virginia Tech. So, and I mean, if he if he continues with the success this year, I mean, I think that South Carolina will do whatever they have to do to keep him there. And I don't think. I think he's one that is for carving his own path out. So,
yeah. As far as Heupel goes, everybody talks about how he's going to go to Oklahoma. I don't. I mean, Oklahoma can pay the money to get him. I mean, he played football there. Yeah, and Oklahoma has a coach.
Because Brent would probably come back to Clemson with his tail in between his legs.
I don't know. I don't know if that'll work or not. But I mean, as far as Heupel leaving, I don't think it'll be money with Tennessee. I mean, they'll just take a couple of those bags that they were giving recruits and just put them in his golf cart. He'll be fine. I mean, it won't be a money thing there. So,
well, I was looking up.
Hunter says, hold on. Look, Hunter says, no one says that, Rob. No one says that. Really? Really? Okay, so.
Says that about what?
Yeah. Cigars and Bourbon said it in the fucking chat that you're in, dude. Heupel is an OU coach in waiting. Oklahoma fans have been saying that forever. Stop it. Tennessee fans are just ridiculous.
Well,
so
I mean,
there's that.
I don't see Venables leaving for at least 2 more years. I don't think they'll.
No, they're going to give him. He'll have 2 more years. They don't want to. They have to pay him to. Not.
How long did they give him to start off with? What was the contract?
It's like a typical. I think 5-year deal. Whatever it is, I don't know.
Well, I was looking up. Do you realize Garrett Riley is only 2 years older than Connor Shaw?
Yeah. Ethan called me a dumb fuck and says he isn't going there. I don't think he's going there either.
No,
I don't. The only reason he would go to Oklahoma is it's not you guys just don't listen. I said I don't think he's going there. The only reason he would go there is if he wanted to go and coach at his alma mater. Tennessee has all the other stuff to give him. He has a chance to play Alabama every year and try to win against them. And And he has a chance to, the money and everything else is there at Tennessee. I don't think that he's going. I don't think he's going. If he went to Oklahoma, that would be a shit move. I mean, it really, really would be. Like if Shane Beamer left South Carolina to go to Virginia Tech, that's a shit move. Yeah. But when it comes to your heart and where you want to go, it's completely different.
Well, I remember why I called in now finally.
Why is that?
I've been in the waiting room for so long. Listen, have you ever seen someone that's fallen uphill more than that fucking offensive coordinator at Georgia? I mean, the dude flames out at Colorado, comes to South Carolina, has an awful offense. All he does is run a pinch and pull. That shit is high school offense. Goes to Auburn, gets fired damn near, gets his walking papers, and then now he's the Georgia offensive coordinator. How does that make any sense?
Look, it's really hard for me to say that and not make fun of the South Carolina offensive coordinator, who was considered the worst offensive coordinator ever at one point. So, but I'm not trying.
In the NFL, though. To be fair,
yeah. Well, I agree with Twisted
in the NFL.
Pretty crappy teams, but
Twisted Rooster with a great comment. Garrett Riley's one and done at Clemson. Yes, Clemson fans get pissed off when I say that. He's going to coach one season there, maybe two, and then he's gone.
Yeah, I think
bye-bye.
His next job is going to be a head coaching job if it goes halfway decent at Clemson.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Who do you think's gonna? Do you think Dabo will try and hire him with that bullshit again, or you think he'll outsource it?
For me to sit here and try to, I've interviewed Dabo Swinney, I think 7 or 8 times in one-on-one interviews, and he's a strange dude, man, with the way that he thinks. Well, I mean, he really, really is. And I don't know which way he would go. I think hiring from within inside is silly, in my opinion. And, I do think some of the,
man, you don't want CJ Spiller as your new offensive coordinator?
What's the deal with what's Jeff Scott doing? And what's the deal with him? I mean,
Jeff Scott he's not like people talked about. He's not even a consultant that's there. And I don't buy into all of that. I think that Riley will be there 1, maybe 2 seasons, and then that's it. And by the way, let's throw this out there too. Thinking that he's just going to come in and it's going to completely right that Clemson offense, let's just slow down a little bit. We don't know how good Klubnik's going to be. The games that I've watched Klubnik play, he hasn't been great at all. He hasn't been great at all.
I mean, they didn't do anything in the spring game that,
no, the spring game looked terrible.
They didn't even run the offense.
No, they didn't even let him call plays. What the fuck? And that's one of the things I was talking about Dabo with his strange thinking over there. You bring this guy in and you have an opportunity for him to call plays in a game that doesn't matter, and you don't let him call fucking plays.
Well, I think that was some kind of weird.
What the fuck is that?
I think that was some kind of weird power play by Dabo, setting the tone.
He did the same thing to Chad Morris.
Yeah.
Same thing. It'll be Chad Morris's offense, but it's the Clemson offense. Chad Morris is developing the Clemson offense. That was the statement that he made. And then Morris comes in there and fucking Clemson does great on the offensive side of the ball. Give the guy credit. He fucking went from what was it? I don't even remember the offensive coordinator before him. Spence, I don't remember.
No, it was Napier.
Yeah, Napier, who didn't
Billy.
He wasn't very good. Wasn't very good at all. And then Morris comes in there and
he does
all kind of shit.
Like he does head coach.
Yeah. Fuck off, Jackpot. Fucking trying
he does OC bad and he does head coach bad.
Anyway, the point is that I think that Riley has a great offensive mind, but on the other hand, to think that he's just going to come in there and it's going to be a fucking track meet, just stop it.
Well, here's what I predict.
Sure.
I think Texas A&M has another shitty season. I think Clemson's offense is halfway decent. They're probably better than last year, but still
last year it was halfway decent and halfway wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. They're probably a little better than last year, and then I think Texas A&M fires Jimbo, Garrett Riley replaces him.
That's not far fetched,
and maybe you get Jimbo as your new OC. You never know.
We'll see. All right, thank you, sir. I gotta bring one more in here. Thank you, buddy.
I don't think Garrett Riley's ready for a head coaching job at the level of Texas.
All right, Mike. Mike, welcome to the show. What do you got, man?
Hey, so I have a question for y'all. I'm the
Sure.
Wake Forest man, so I will say good evening, Clemson man. Good evening, South Carolina man. But
Hello, Wake Forest man.
no ACC talk tonight. I know this is the SEC over/under, so
Right,
just have
because
a-
we
I
did
kinda-
the ACC the other night, but
yeah. Sorry I missed it, but I just kind of want y'all's opinion on Alabama. Like maybe just I know I heard it, but just a little more depth because, like I said, I'm a Wake Forest fan. People don't even think I exist. You're
Right.
a Clemson fan. Like no one really hates Bama, loves Bama. Like I feel like we're all kind of objective here.
so
wait.
yeah,
Go ahead.
you're asking my thoughts on Alabama.
Yeah,
When I
go
look
on.
at Alabama, the thing that gets me with them all the time is that the amount of talent that they have at every position. They've got 5- and 4-star guys at every single position, and then 4- and 5-star guys backing them up. In addition to the best coach in college football. So it's hard for me to sit here and say, hey, we're going to just piss on Alabama when they've got talent on top of talent. It's not something that's like a manufactured, gimmicked up thing. They've got guys. They got the dudes, man. And that's why it's hard to pick against them. And I give Tennessee shit, but the reality is that they went out there with a team that was a hell of a lot less talented as far as depth and everything else, and they beat Alabama in their own house. Alabama doesn't lose very many games.
Wait,
So winning that game
is
was
it
huge
10
for
and-
them. I mean,
is
it really
that
was.
over under 10.5.
Yeah, over
Okay.
under 10.5.
Yeah, but see, I would hammer the under, and this is why I'm confused because I look at it as they won 10 last year.
Right.
They, objectively, their best win was Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to relitigate all of this, but most people think they probably should have lost to Texas, so that's 9. And then I
Right.
think I could look at the schedule right.
Sure. You there? Hello? All
Sorry,
right, well,
no, I'm here. I might have cut
Okay.
out because I was looking at the schedule, but basically, they won 10 games. Most people think they probably should have won 9. They beat.
Well, they're
Ole Miss by one
extremely
possession.
close to losing to Texas A&M too.
They lost-
that was what I was going to
so
say.
they-
Jackpot. Yeah.
they lost 2 games by a combined total of 4 points. I mean, we have to put that out there too.
That's fair. But I guess I look at it as they won 10. Most people think they should have won 9. They beat Ole Miss, their best win by 1 possession. They beat Texas A&M by 1 possession. And objectively, like they're worse at quarterback, they're worse at wide receiver. Nick Saban has dementia. Like I don't know. I guess I think there's this Bama hype because it's like since 08, 09, they've been the thing. But if you take the logos off the helmet, like objectively, they won 10 games, probably 9. Like, I don't know. I don't really see it. So that's why I wanted y'all's opinion.
It's hard for me to sit here with the talent that they have there and just say, you know what, they're just going to fall off the face of the earth this year. I don't see that. I think a 10-win season is a disappointment for them. I mean, that's kind of how it's just hard for me to sit here and say, oh, they're going to go and drop games that I don't see it. I really don't.
Yeah, that's fair. Like I said,
By the
I'll
way,
let y'all go.
if you missed, I said that Wake Forest is going to be, they're always projected to be in the shitter, and they're not. Someone needs to hire Dave Clawson because he's a hell of a coach. He really is.
So, like I said, I don't want to hijack the show, but Wake Forest over under 6.5.
Yeah, take the over.
I would as well,
Yeah. All right, bud. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for watching the show. We really appreciate it.
Yep. Talk to y'all later.
All right, Jackpot, you want to let me put the number out again, or are you ready to go to bed?
Well, we can stay up for just a little bit longer.
All right, I'm going to put it out there. If you want to get in on the program, have at it. There's a StreamYard link right there. If you would like to join the program, have at it. And then our over under stuff that we have there. It's That's our stuff, man. We're going to start putting out our stuff with the Jackpot's going to do, I'm sure, some game-by-game predictions, etc. As we get closer to the season, we will do...
Wesley over in the chat says that claw, C-L-A-W, fence was the beginning of the slide at Tennessee. Did he used to coach at Tennessee? That being Clawson?
I don't think so. I don't know. Let me look. I'm looking up Dave Clawson's numbers. The problem with if Dave Clawson was coaching players at Tennessee, what had happened is that most of those players probably couldn't read.
Well, if it was true, then it wasn't him. It was probably the dumbass. He was their OC. It was probably
he was their OC in 2008.
Dumbass damn head coaches they hired.
Now, he was the OC in 2008 at Tennessee, and then he left to go to Bowling Green, which is, I'd rather be the Bowling Green head coach. Fuck Tennessee.
That would have been with Phil Fulmer's last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that his offense is, the way that he does stuff, it's just, I think he's just a great coach. He motivates his guys. And he does it at the smallest Power 5 school in the country, and they're legit a good team every year.
Or he might. Maybe he got a little better after he left Tennessee. Maybe he said, I'm gonna hone my offensive craft just a little bit better because I don't want to have to go back to that shithole. Whew.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
More likely, what happened. That's probably exactly what happened.
So he's there for one season, and I'm trying to look at that. Let's see here. They went 5-7, 3-5 in the conference. I'm looking at, let's see here. Yeah, off the field issues. The first instance of the season, they had guys cited for possession of pot. This was a shit show Tennessee team. They did beat UAB, North Carolina, Northern Illinois, Mississippi State. They beat Vanderbilt and Kentucky. But
is
everyone
that the team
else
that lost to Wyoming?
They lost to Wyoming at Neyland Stadium 13-7. They lost to South Carolina by 21 on the road. They got beat at home by Alabama by 20. Georgia got them. They lost to Auburn by 2. Florida hammered them. Yeah, UCLA beat them in overtime. So there's that.
That was the crappy. That Gamecocks team wasn't that good. That was a crappy team that got drilled by Dabo in his first South Carolina Clemson game. We were the reason he got the head coaching job.
Whatever you need to tell yourself.
They removed the interim from the title after that, and then we lost to Iowa. I think it was in one of the Florida Bowls. Embarrassing.
Jerry says they should not have fired Fulmer. That's not a far-reaching statement, but I don't know. Look, Tennessee fans love Heupel, and maybe he likes it there. I don't think going to Oklahoma is going to happen, but we shall see. Jackpot's dog over there, he's happy. Biscuit says he thinks UT and UF is just a tough matchup. He thinks Tennessee wins by 4 or 5 points. I think there's a lot of people that are shitting on Billy Napier, and he's put stuff out there to be shit on, but he won that Utah game last year, and I don't know how he did it, but he won it. And maybe there's another game on the schedule this year that would make sense that he could pull one out. Let's welcome Twisted Rooster to the show. What's up, buddy? Twisted Rooster, hello. I see you, sir.
I'm good, buddy. How y'all doing tonight?
Good, man. What you got for the show?
Question for Jackpot. Hey, Jackpot, does Auburn win the SEC first, or does Hugh Sleaze get under investigation again?
Investigation, definitely. Auburn so far from winning the SEC. A satellite.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I'm just saying, I was laughing at Jackpot's video, and all of a sudden the old boys at the SEC podcast made a big deal out of Jackpot's Auburn video, and I'm like, you know what? Jackpot actually just spoke the truth. So they they were showing Jackpot all over SEC football this week.
Oh yeah.
Well, Jackpot gave them more attention than fucking everybody else has in a long time. So you're welcome,
Exactly.
Auburn.
I talked about Devin, and he ruffled my feathers with that. And it's bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, welcome back.
And it's true. I mean, these crystal balls mean nothing anymore. It's just these guys are like, well, I'm 92% on my crystal balls. Well, after this year, you ain't gonna be.
Well, one thing, I know they backed up the Brinks truck to pay the kid, but his brother also plays at Auburn. So that was a little bit of an advantage to get his, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, from what I understand, his brothers tried to leave like 2 or 3 times.
Look, Hugh Freeze just comes across as so fake to me. But the guy's won 7 or more games every season except one. So,
yeah, he's not winning. He's not winning 7 this year though.
Just saying, it's what he's done. His record so far. So who knows?
Yeah, but that team, he's got to get some talent back into Auburn because Harsin was terrible.
What a
I
shit
mean, their
show.
recruiting was terrible. His personality was terrible. He couldn't even keep coaches, man.
Brock has a good point. They copyrighted Jackpot. We should take action. Yeah, you used our content, sir. The fuck is wrong with you over there?
That's right. Have they shown up on you guys' show to talk football?
They don't need to show up here. We don't need that nonsense.
Yeah.
But back to something Jackpot was talking about earlier.
Jay steals my content quite a bit too, to use in his videos. Steals Uncle Lou's too, but I don't care. It gives me exposure.
Would that make me popular? I just need to go steal everyone else's content.
Cassandra, hold on. Let me address Cassandra over there. Cassandra says she can't video chat. Look, you just click the link and it will take you there. You don't have to turn your camera on, and it's just like a phone number, ma'am. Very simple. Just click the link. You don't have to show up on the screen like a Twisted Rooster is here. It's just like a phone call.
But I wanted to ask Jackpot some questions about South Carolina. Do you have a surprise player? Someone that no one's talking about that you think is going to be a standout this year?
Well, just reading from what they've had going on in practice, what we were talking about receivers earlier, this Elijah Caldwell kid, that's a freshman from Rock Hill, has been doing some good things evidently in practice. Really picking up the offense pretty quickly. So, you may want to look there. I mean, I'd like to see somebody emerge on that offensive line. Now, all I hear from everybody who knows anything about football is that they're a true freshman. They can't play.
Lack of depth.
So,
we don't have any true freshmen on our offensive line.
Marquis Anderson.
Yeah, but he's not a starter.
No, he's not a starter, but he's he was what? He was number 1 offensive lineman in the state of South Carolina last year. High 4-star, huge commitment. He picked Gamecocks over Clemson and somebody.
Georgia.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, he's got some talent. I don't know if he's got a bigger upside than whoever we got right now that's playing tackle. But if they start to have problems, maybe it's worth looking at.
Yeah, I've heard he'll be in the rotation. They're going to rotate probably 2 or 3 guys, just to gain some experience. Because you got Lee, you got the Gargiulo guy that came in from Yale.
Yeah, that's another guy. I want to see what he can do. He's huge. And at Yale, where he transferred from, they might want to laugh if he came from Yale. They only have one captain. Period. One captain. Right. And he was it. He's apparently, just a great force there in the locker room, and he's an animal from what I've understand. So, yeah, I'm interested to see what he can do. I want to see Trey Knox play some more. So.
Hey, Jackpot, we was laughed at about Juice Wells last year, too, about being our best receiver from James Madison, but almost 1,000 yards proved I think at the end of the year, Juice Wells was the one doing the laughing.
Yeah, I mean, some of those skill guys transfer from lower division schools can transfer in, and if you've got good offensive line play and your quarterback gets some protection and he can make some plays and get the ball to you. I mean, whatever speed you have is whatever speed you have. It's just,
Yeah.
All right, Twisted Rooster, I want to get Billy in before we get out of here, but as always, we appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much.
All right, guys, y'all have a good one. And Jackpot, I think Pup Howard's our guy on defense as a freshman.
Yep.
There you go. All right, let's bring Billy in before we get out of here. Billy, welcome to the show. Billy. Billy. Billy.
I guess Dalton says 63 Vols, 28 Gamecocks. Well, hey, there you go. They didn't beat us by 50.
Yeah. No one wants to give me 49 points, Jackpot. They'll put out there Vols 56.
13 Gamecocks.
Vols 56, South Carolina 7. Not happening. Let's all laugh at Billy as he sat there for a minute and now he's not showing up. Billy probably doesn't know how to turn his microphone on. Anyway, as we'll wait, we're gonna wait 30 seconds more for Billy before we get out of here. Get in the Callaway's Pick'em Challenge. The link is in the bio. 2 weeks away from this Saturday, by the way. That's where we're gonna be picking some games. So get involved in the Callaway's Pick'em Challenge. He just fell asleep there.
Not this coming Wednesday, but the next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, so
I'm looking forward to that Vandy Hawaii matchup. That's definitely in my wheelhouse.
No, it's not. Are you betting on that game?
Maybe. I don't know. I have to see. Probably not. Probably not.
Well, we'll see. Anyway,
Hawaii,
it's been a great show.
They're all about this year. I think Hawaii might pick them off.
Yeah. Well, it's been a great show for us this evening, and we'll be back at it on Sunday night. Appreciate y'all as always, and we'll talk to you later on.
See you later, guys.